Alright, the first weekend of the college football season is officially over. No Tuesday night action, no Wednesday night action, at least not for a couple months. We had games for 5 straight days, but week 1 is finally in the books. It was a crazy weekend, and it delivered big time. With the first weekend now over, it's time for me to give my top 25 rankings. Every week during the season, I'm going to be giving my top 25, but they're usually going to come on Sundays. But since the games went this far this week, week 1 had to be pushed all the way to Tuesday. Unfortunately, I don't have a vote in the AP poll, but if I did, here's how I would rank my top 25 teams in college football. Before we get to the rest of today's video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you're watching this video, odds are that you love college football, and odds are you aren't subscribed to my channel, so make sure to subscribe to one of the best college football communities here on YouTube. I'm posting videos every day during the college football season, so make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. Also, make sure to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm and helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. To no surprise, I have Georgia staying at number 1. They defeated UT Martin 48-7, and that's all I really have to say on the Bulldogs this week. I have Michigan at 2 after their 30-3 victory over East Carolina. JJ McCarthy completed 26 of 30 passes for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. And the defense held the Pirates to only 3 points and fewer than 250 yards of total offense. I have Florida State jumping all the way from number 8 to number 3. As I talked about in my video on Florida State the other night, the reason I have them so high is just because a lot of the teams in front of them weren't all that impressive this weekend. The Seminoles had probably the most impressive victory of the entire weekend, and I think they're worthy of being ranked inside my top 3. Alabama comes in at number 4 as they defeated Middle Tennessee by nearly 50 points. Jalen Milroe got the start for the Tide as he threw for 200 yards with 3 touchdowns and was also the leading rusher, adding 50 yards on the ground with 2 rushing scores as well. USC moved to 2-0 on the season with their 66-14 win over Nevada. Caleb Williams was fantastic once again as he threw for over 300 yards with 5 passing touchdowns. I know it's early in the college football season, but USC looks like they're going to have the best offense in the entire nation. Also, shout out to their defense for only allowing 14 points in this game. I know they were only playing Nevada, but that's a huge win for this defense. Ohio State defeated Indiana 23-3, but it overall wasn't that impressive of a victory for them. Yeah, they ended up winning by 20 points, but Ohio State just didn't really look all that good at any point in this game. I think Indiana's going to be pretty bad this season, so the fact that Ohio State wasn't able to blow them out of the water right away has me just a little bit concerned. I thought Boise State was going to be able to make this game interesting, and they did through the first quarter, but Washington was able to take down the Broncos 56-19 after outscoring them 56-13 the final 3 quarters. They also outscored them 35-7 in the second half. Michael Penix Jr. threw for 450 yards with 5 passing touchdowns, and he really made a solid case for his early Heisman campaign. Penn State opened up their victory with a 23-point win against West Virginia. This game was actually pretty close at the half as Penn State led by only 7 points, but they outscored West Virginia 24-8 in the second half for the comfortable victory. I want to say this was an impressive win for Utah, but there's a strong chance that Florida isn't even a bowl team this season. Still, the Utes were dominant on both sides of the ball the entire game as they knocked off the Gators 24-11. They also did it without their starting quarterback Cameron Rising. Backup quarterback Bryson Barnes threw for 160 yards with a score while also adding a touchdown on the ground as well. Yeah, this one wasn't pretty, and if you're a Portland State fan, I really send my condolences. Oregon set their program record in points scored by scoring 81 against Portland State this weekend. I mean, the Ducks had 50 points at the half, and they decided to add 31 more in the second half. Bo Nix was fantastic as he completed 23 of 27 passes for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Oregon also did a lot on the ground as they rushed for 350 yards as a team with 7 rushing scores. On 34 attempts, the Ducks averaged more than 10 yards a carry. This game was a little too close for comfort in the first half as Texas led 16-3. but they outscored Rice 21-7 in the second half for the comfortable victory. Quinn Ewers threw for just under 300 yards with 3 passing touchdowns while adding a score on the ground as well. Now Texas has by far their biggest game of the season as they travel to Alabama next weekend. Another easy win for Notre Dame as they knocked off Tennessee State 56-3. That's now back-to-back wins for the Irish in which they've looked dominant. But I guess we'll have to pump the brakes just a little based on who they've played. Sam Hartman was solid before being pulled at halftime as he completed 14 of 17 passes for 200 yards with 2 passing touchdowns. Tennessee had an easy victory as they defeated Virginia 49-13. Joe Milton has pretty big shoes to fill, but he was solid as he threw for 200 yards with 2 touchdowns while adding 2 touchdowns on the ground as well. As a team, the Vols rushed for nearly 300 yards with 5 combined rushing scores. North Carolina quietly had one of the more impressive victories of the entire weekend. They knocked off South Carolina 31-17. I personally had the Gamecocks ranked inside my top 25 to begin the season, and this was a pretty dominant effort from the Tar Heels. It was a close game at the half as they led by only 3 points, but they outscored South Carolina 14-3 in the second half. Drake May threw for just under 300 yards with 2 rushing scores, but it was the defense that was the highlight of this game. Overall, North Carolina's defense had 16 tackles for loss and 9 sacks. Those are insane numbers over a 2 or 3 game stretch, but the fact that they did this in one game is just insane. Before I get to the rest of my top 25, here's how you can make the 2023 college football season even more exciting. You can actually win money by watching college football games thanks to Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is excited to give me this exclusive offer for my YouTube subscribers. Use promo code Harris to receive a 100% deposit match up to $100 if you sign up. You can win up to 20 times your money in a single game. You can pick at least 2 players and choose as many as 5. I've been using this to my advantage as this past weekend I had a 5 pick'em hit. Then during last night's Clemson-Duke game, I had a 3 pick'em hit as well. So if you deposit $50, they'll add $50 to your account. If you deposit $100, they'll add $100 of free money. Consider this my personal gift to you for being awesome subscribers. So if you'd like to win money this college football season, make sure to download the Underdog Fantasy app and use promo code Harris for a 100% deposit match up to $100. You can also sign up using the link in my description. Oregon State kicked off the DJ Uiagalelei era with a nice 42-17 win over San Jose State. Uiagalelei, who made his debut for the Beavers, completed 20 of 25 passes for 250 yards. He threw 3 passing touchdowns and added 2 touchdowns on the ground as well. Kansas State had a pretty easy 45-0 victory as they took on Southeast Missouri State. Will Howard totaled 300 yards for the day with 3 touchdowns. And that's all there really is to say about this one. Speaking of easy victories, Oklahoma defeated Arkansas State 73-0. I mean, this one was an absolute massacre, and I feel bad for any Arkansas State fans out there. Dylan Gabriel completed 19 of 22 passes for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. Even their backup quarterback Jackson Arnold was perfect as he completed 11 of 11 passes for 100 yards with a passing score. There were also 5 different Sooners players that added a touchdown on the ground as well. I can't believe this is actually happening, but I have Colorado ranked inside my top 25. I would have never thought that would have happened prior to the start of the season, but here we are. Colorado shocked the world by knocking off number 17 TCU by 3 points on the road. I've talked about Colorado multiple times this weekend, but I'll do it one final time. Shedeur Sanders played the game of his life as he threw for over 500 yards with 4 passing touchdowns. Travis Hunter was insane on both sides of the ball as he caught 11 passes for 120 yards and made a number of big plays on defense, including having an interception. Not to mention, Dylan Edwards totaled over 150 yards with 4 touchdowns for the game as well. We'll see how Colorado does in their follow-up game against Nebraska this weekend, but for now, I gotta have them inside my top 25. Also cracking the top 25 is Duke. They knocked off number 9 Clemson 28-7. I went more in depth on this game last night in my video, so make sure to check that out. But this is a Duke team that was really solid last year by winning 9 games. Also, they did receive a number of votes in the preseason AP poll, so a lot of people were high on this Duke team entering the season. Also, by the way, this might be a spoiler, but I don't have Clemson inside my top 25. I know that's quite the fall for them, considering they were ranked number 9, but if you go back to the end of last season, this has been a pretty bad Tigers team. Tulane knocked off South Alabama by 20 points. I thought South Alabama was going to make this a game, and I had them as a bubble top 25 team. But Tulane showed that last year wasn't a fluke, as they won this game with ease. Michael Pratt threw for 300 yards with 4 passing touchdowns and had only 1 incompletion for the entire game. UCLA welcomed Coastal Carolina to the Rose Bowl, and I thought the Chanticleers were going to make this a tight game. And it pretty much was, as Coastal Carolina was only trailing by 1 point entering the 4th quarter. But UCLA pulled away in the 4th quarter and ultimately got the 14-point victory. Dante Moore and Ethan Garbers both saw snaps, as Ethan Garbers had 17 pass attempts and Dante Moore had 12. Dante Moore overall had the better game, as he threw for 140 yards with 2 passing touchdowns. I have LSU falling all the way here because what we saw in the second half was truly horrific. If you watch the Tigers exclusively in the second half, you wouldn't even think they're worthy of being a top 25 team. But they did look good in the first half and had a lead against Florida State, so I have them barely surviving the top 25 for now. Wisconsin took care of business as they knocked out Buffalo 38-17. Tanner Mordecai made his Badger debut and was kinda quiet, as he threw for 190 yards with 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. The reason Wisconsin won this game was because of their rushing attack. Ches Malusi added 157 yards on the ground with 2 rushing scores, while Braylon Allen had 140 yards and 2 rushing scores as well. Ole Miss took care of Mercer with ease as they defeated them 73-7. Jackson Dart threw for over 330 yards with 4 passing touchdowns. Quinshon Judkins added only 60 yards but rushed in 2 touchdowns. Trey Harris was the MVP of the game as he caught 6 passes for 130 yards with 4 receiving touchdowns. Texas A&M kicked off their season with an easy 52-10 victory over New Mexico. Connor Weigman threw for 250 yards with 5 passing touchdowns. I get it's only the Lobos, but A&M's defense was able to hold them to only 200 yards. Well, that wraps it up for my week 1 top 25 rankings. Was there a team that you thought was ranked way too high, or a team that was ranked way too low, or was there a team that should have cracked my top 25 that just missed it? Whoever it is, let me know in the comment section down below. Before you leave, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. I'm posting college football videos every day during the season, so make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. Also, don't forget to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm and helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.